Hey everyone, welcome to Unique Ways with Thomas Gerard, an audio podcast. Got an amazing guest today. She's an American graphic designer, writer, and educator, known for her typographic skill, hand lettering, and poster design. Her family migrated to the Bronx, New York from Jamaica. She was a first-generation American and first-generation college-educated in her family and graduated from the School of Visual Arts with a BFA in 1984, where she was taught by Paula Scher. Please join me in welcoming Gail Anderson. Welcome.
Hello, hello.
Are you ready for 20 questions?
Well, we'll see how many I get there.
Great. Number one, tell me a little bit more about yourself. What do you do?
Well, I'm a graphic designer, as you know, and currently, well, for the last 4 years and hopefully onward, I'm chair of the BFA Design and BFA Advertising departments at the School of Visual Arts in New York. So I'm like a full-time educator now.
That's great. It's a note for our audience. You're actually the second chair from the School of Visual Arts. We had Debbie Millman on earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, super
Yeah.
interesting. Number two, what's a key piece of knowledge that makes you different?
A key piece of knowledge that makes me different. I don't know how different I am. I'm probably pretty vanilla, but I suppose um well, I don't know about that one. I hesitate to think of myself as different, although I'd like to believe I am.
Mm.
But maybe uh, for a person for designers in New York, I'm probably I feel like I'm one of the only designers actually born and bred in New York.
Mm.
So people seem to come from everywhere else and land and make their homes in New York, but I'm like, pretty local. So
I like that answer. We had Timothy Goodman on the show, and
yeah,
he does so much work in New York, and is so kind of New York focused. And one of the later questions will be about specifically about place, so maybe we can go into that then.
sure.
Yeah. So number three, why this of all things? Why do you do what you do?
I do what I do because I love what I do. And at this point, I'm sort of as I get older, and more in give back mode. So I feel like where I am now is appropriate for my stage of life, and that I've got some wisdom to impart that I'm making an effort in these years to really focus on raising up the next generation and hoping as much as possible to raise up folks from different communities. Um, so we've got as diverse a pool of designers as possible out there.
Nice, I like that. So number four, some people struggle with, but the question is, what does your future look like?
Uh, I think my future is doing what I'm doing still, spending more time upstate. Right now, I'm in upstate New York in Woodstock, and during the pandemic, I realized how happy I was up here. Not that I'm not happy in the city, but I've been in the city all my life, and so it's been nice to spend more time outside the city. So that's where I'd like to be. Is looking at a mountain and some trees every now and then. But career wise, excuse me, I think building on the foundation that Richard Weil, the previous chair of 50 years, who one of my heroes, what he started to build on that and expand and see what technology brings as we go into this world of AI. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
So here's the question I was excited about. So number five is let's talk about location. How does the notion of place play into what you do?
Well, as I was saying, place right now, I've always sort of been in one place and travel occasionally. And I realized probably later in life than I should have that travel and seeing other parts of the world outside of travel for work is really important, as is taking a vacation. And that's been a foolish late lesson for me that I wish I'd taught myself in my 20s and 30s instead of in ye old age now. So place is a changing place is important to refresh and renew and all of those words, things that I kind of knew but didn't really believe until I started to do it myself. So I feel like place is a big one now, and to kind of shift the place around every now and then, even if it's every decade or so, but to kind of no, not get stuck in one place too long,
Nice. And number
or get in the car and move someplace else every now and then.
Yeah, it's kind of a great one. We have different responses to this idea of place, the geographic place or the kind of more metaphorical place. But with your place being New York, there's kind of no other answer. Number 6, if you had to start from scratch, what advice would you give your former younger self?
I think it's in the same vein of place, of kind of cutting myself a break a little bit more than I did, not being as hard on myself and taking the time to kind of check out and relax and see other places. I was so focused on deadlines and on the work, and still am in a lot of ways, but I've seen now from experience that stepping away from it makes it better, makes it richer, makes it more fun. And so, yeah, I'd say kind of give yourself a break. Yeah. Ooh. So
Nice. Number 7, what's your day in the life like?
day in the life changes a bit. Day in the life when I'm up here, I'm up in Woodstock right now, is still sort of sitting in front of a computer. But the day in the life in the city is being around kids, being around young folk, my coworkers, and the energy that comes from that I don't have up here. That it's nice to step back and be up here by myself and get some stuff done that I can just sort of focus and curl up and focus. But the better and more fun time for me is when I'm with other people. And I think during the pandemic, when it was 3 of us up here, myself, 2 friends, and then by myself for a good couple months, I was like, oh, I can do this. This is great. And then once I was around other people again, in the office, and we were kind of officially back, I realized how important that was for me, to be with other people and mix it up and just yell something down the hall or go and sit in someone's office. And I know that some folks think of that as sort of a waste of time, but I feel like it's so valuable. And it makes me sad when I hear my students say they just want to work remotely and sort of just put their headphones on and sit in front of their computer. I'm like, no, get out there, get out in the world. So mix it up.
Nice. We had a great C-suite designer on named Roger Vanderheed, who would describe his day as going into the atelier. And when he opened up the door to the atelier and went inside, that's when the work started. And when he closed that door, he left the work behind. Mm-hmm. And I imagine it's a bit like that for you, except with
the work's always in my head. The work wakes me up in the middle of the night, or making a note on a piece of paper at 4 a.m. or something. There isn't really kind of closing the door. But I've gotten better about that over the years, and there's shutting down that that I do kind of close the laptop and leave what I'm doing at a reasonable hour, which was almost impossible for everyone during the pandemic. And it was hard for me to get back in the habit of like, okay, stop, go do something else, go and enjoy yourself, even if it's just watching TV or something. Yeah. So work looks a little different up here, is more engaged moment in the city, but it's all good. It's sort of good either way. So.
Okay, number 8, lifelong learning is a popular topic. How do you stay up to date?
Well, I started teaching 31 years ago, and so I was much younger, and I was pretty much up to date then. And as the years went by, I realized that the students kept me young and kept me up to date on what was going on. And early on, it was the magazines they read, and then it was the websites they looked at, and then it's the blogs, and now it's their social media. And so that keeps me fresh, is being with people much younger than myself and having them roll their eyes all the way back in their heads when I say something. Even it's my coworkers, because they're like, what? This old fool. So
it's funny. Just about halfway. Number 9, what tools do you use? Do you use digital and analog tools?
Yeah. I wish I still had the computer skills that they did years ago when I was making things more actively than I am right now. I'm probably sitting in front of, Google Docs and Google Sheets and stuff like that, and Slack, and an email more than anything right now. But I love making things with my hands. And part of the plan up here is to create a space that I can make a mess in, which isn't something I haven't had in a long, long time. And so that's a goal, to have a place to make things by hand again. I used to make things from tile and other stuff, and I need that. I need that moment of a space without computer access and just some light, and to be able to just make stuff for myself and then force it on other people. So.
Great. Halfway, number 10, how do you deal with work-life balance?
Ugh, I'm not good at it. I'm not good at it. I'm better at it than I was when I was younger, but I'm not that good at it. The work stuff does seep over into my time, and it's personal time. It's hard to distinguish between the two. People that I hang out with are often people I work with or people in the same profession. So there's that overlap as well. I years of therapy have made me a little bit better at it, but it's still something I struggle with. And the thing in this working at SVA these last 6-7 years in different capacities, it's a very 9 to 5 place for the staff, and I had to wrap my head around that of like, okay, we're out of here 5:30, 6, whatever, but it's not an all night, you know, as it has been at other jobs for me of like, ooh, let's keep working. So that's been good to force the work-life balance on me. And then when I'm up here, it's nice to kind of shut down and get in the car and go somewhere, or even just kind of curl up and watch TV. So I'm definitely a work in progress with that, sadly.
Nice. And 11, if you weren't doing what you do now, what would you be doing?
What would I be doing? I'd be a writer. I'd be a full-time writer.
Mm.
I would love to do that. I do it a bit. I don't do it enough. I have all these plans in my head that then I don't ever kind of get to, or I get to a few here and there, but I would write.
What would you not like to do with your career?
What would I not like to do? I would not like to wrap it up now. I have friends and relatives who are my contemporaries who are like, "You're still working?" I'm like, "Wait, what?" And what I don't want is to kind of set all that aside now. I feel like I've got many good years in me, and hopefully really, really good years. So what do I don't want to kind of hang it up right now. I want to sort of keep reinventing what I'm doing and work on things that are, as I said, in sort of give back mode, but I'm not ready to hang it up. So
What's your favorite word, quote, or sentence?
my word quote or something. There there are things I have overused. That's a hard one. I have to think about that one some more. I think that in my head, I'm always reminding myself to be patient because I'm not sometimes, and I've gotten old and crusty. And so the words in my head that I'm saying sort of like back off, slow down, be nice, be patient, and just like take a breath, take a breath, take a breath, take a breath. So I'm
And
giving you my thought bubble there.
no, that's good. And I need to ask, what's your least favorite word, quote, or sentence, if you have one?
Ugh, I least favorite. It's probably when somebody says that it, I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. I always take that the wrong way. It's like, oh, you just mean we're wrapping up now. Like, no, they mean, is that it? Is that it? And that's where I'm like, oh God. So read way too much into people just being polite and trying to wrap things up.
Nice. And if you had to pick one word to describe yourself, what word would you choose?
Well, I unfortunately, no matter how hard I try, I'm pretty messy.
Mm.
And I really make an effort, but I don't make it often enough. So messy is being polite. So I'll just say messy instead. I'm a slob or something like that. But and it comes in handy sometimes because you make these discoveries when you're like looking for something, you find something else, like, oh, well, that brought up a new idea. But messy in general, yeah, that's probably the best word, sadly.
16, what keeps you up at night?
What keeps me up at night? Ugh, it's not what keeps me up because I'm fine going to sleep, but it's those 4 o'clock, the 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, like bing of something I forgot to do. The things that keep me up now are deadlines of have I overextended myself? Have I said yes too much? And am I going to be able to follow through on the things I've said yes to? I've certainly learned over the years that people are graceful and will grant you a little time here and there. And I've learned to tactfully take advantage of that. But where I thought, like, oh my God, if I don't meet this deadline, it's the end of the world. It's like, no, people give you a little leeway there. And so but I still wake up like, oh my God, what did I commit myself to? And now I worry about things like enrollment numbers and stuff that's like, wait, what am I worrying about? What? So,
Nice.
or when I'm up here, what wakes me up is like, I hear something in the walls. It's like, is it a squirrel? Is it a rat? Like, so.
Nice. And final stretch, number 17. What's a dream you're chasing?
A dream I'm chasing? Oh man, the one I'll never catch. Being in better shape, of exercising, of taking better care of myself. That is the dream. And I'm watching the years tick away and the moments of good health tick away. And I'm like, what am I doing? It's like carving out time for myself. That's what I'm really bad at. And get out, go take a walk, go up the hill, go down the road, go, rowing or do something. It's like, oh man, that is the dream I'm chasing still in my old age. So
I
at
had
some
that.
point it'll be like, oh, can I go up the stairs? Like that'll be it. That'll be the dream, going up the stairs. So,
Well, I had that because we had John Maeda on the show and he talked about eating protein for breakfast. And I started doing that and that really changed.
oh, life changer. Yes. Yes. In my healthy moments, that's when I'm like, look at that protein. Like you can just all this protein. I'm like, I'm on it. And then sugar comes back. So
Number 18, what inspires you?
to be corny and say the students and all that, probably a bit of that. What inspires me, books still get me. I'm still like, ooh, I just ordered some books from Drawdown, and man, design books still get me.
Mm.
I will buy stacks and pour through them, or they sit here and then a month later I pour through a book, or a book is wrapped up for 6 months and I open it. But books still, not websites, not social media, not anything, but finding stuff and seeing it on paper still makes me so happy.
Great. And 19, any advice you'd like to share?
I guess my advice is still to like go easy on yourself and go see the world. Seeing, if you think you can't, or if you can't, legitimately can't afford to travel, save your pennies and get on Amtrak and go somewhere and take a trip, or get on a bus or get in your car or whatever, but go and see stuff, because the ideas don't come, when you're sitting in front of your computer. They come when you're doing other stuff or in the middle of the night, but they certainly don't come when you're just sitting and fretting about them. And getting out there, a trip to Italy years ago did it for me. And I was like, why didn't anybody tell me this was out here? It's like, look at this country. And I shouldn't have had those life-changing moments in my 50s. I should have had them in like my 20s and 30s and all that. So get out and do stuff. And you have vacation days, use them, my friends, use them. Go and have some fun.
Great. And number 20, how can our listeners keep tabs on you? What's our call to action?
My call to action, how to keep tabs on me? I don't know. I wish I was better about social media. I have Instagram that I haven't posted on in a year, probably, or more than a year. At Gaily Curl. I, I do stuff. I like to talk and do podcasts and stuff like that. So I do them for folks, and then I don't promote them. And then I'm like, oh, why do I do it if I'm not going to promote it? So I'm stuck in my head. I have nothing. I got nothing for you. sadly.
Okay, no, that's great. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. It's such a, to have someone of your stature is so great. And I'm so excited to hear about these ambitions about SVA. It's super cool. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Okay. I'll see you around.
Thanks.